This video is going to be about simple factoring, factoring out GCFs and factoring a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 0. So my 6th period class wants to be part of this video. Nick Brown, what's your favorite subject?
Math.
Thank you very much. Nathaniel, who's your favorite coach?
Coach McNeely.
Oh, good. Yes. Okay, let's see. Gabby, who's your favorite Disney character?
Probably, I don't know, Mickey Mouse.
Good. And Jack, do you ride to school in your own car, or does your mommy still drive you?
I drive to school myself.
Jack Ross.
Nice. Maya, why do you have the uniform on?
Because I'm in ROTC.
What does that mean?
It's a junior reserve officer training course. It's through the military.
And what's one of my favorite groups at CP?
ROTC.
Gotta love it. Eric, you're busy doing math, so I'm not going to interrupt you. You keep going.
Okay.
All right, so the first thing we're going to look at for factoring is just pulling out a greatest common factor. And in this first example, you can see they can both be divided by 2. So I'm going to factor out the 2 or undistribute the 2, whatever you want to call it. 2 times x squared will give me this 2x squared. 2 times negative 6 will give me this negative 12. In the next example, if I look at them all, they all have a common factor of x. I'm going to change this to 4, 3, 2. They all have a common factor of x, but you can also notice that 3 of the terms have a common factor of 5. You cannot pull that common factor of 5 out unless all 4 terms have that common factor. So I'm going to pull out that common factor of x, leaving me x cubed minus 5x squared plus 10x plus 15. And this last one, the x squared term, or the first term when you're factoring, should always be positive. Just makes the factoring easier, so that should be positive. So I'm going to factor out a negative, and this would be x squared minus 10 then. And if I look at it, negative times x squared will give me negative x squared, and negative times negative 10 will give me positive 10. Now we're going to look at simple factoring, and we are going to do something at first called split the middle and group. So the first thing we need to do is add a leading coefficient, and I am not going to write down all the steps, so you guys need to write down the steps. The first thing I'm going to do is multiply the a times the c. 1 times 6 is 6. The next thing I'm going to do is list all the factors of 6. 1 times 6, 2 times 3. I need to pick which group of these will add together to give me negative 5. Well, you'll notice this is 7 and this is positive 5. But don't forget, it doesn't make a difference if I do a negative and a negative. That still gives me the positive 6, but it also gives me negative 5. So this will be the group that I'm going to split the middle with. I'm going to split the middle term into negative 2x minus 3x. I'm going to keep the 1x squared out front and the plus 6 at the end. Now, I didn't change the value. Negative 5x can also be written as negative 2x minus 3x. I'm going to group. So I'm going to group right here. These are not multiplication. I'm not creating 2 binomials. I'm making 2 groups. I look in the first group, common factor of x, leaving me x minus 2. Look in the second common factor of negative 3. I'm going to take that out. Gives me x minus 2. These 2 groups must match. If it matches, it becomes my first factor, and the other stuff that's left becomes my second factor. And I have factored. Okay, let's do the next one. Give it a leading coefficient of 1. 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. 1 times 15 gives me 15. 3 times 5. I need a negative 15 though, and I need whatever pair I pick to add to 2. So I'm going to pick positive 5 and negative 3. That will add to 2, and they will also multiply to negative 15. So I'm going to split this middle term into negative 3x plus 5x. Then just bring down the x squared. I'm going to group here and here. This has a common factor of x, leaving me x minus 3. This has a common factor of 5, leaving me x minus 3. These match. That's my first factor. And this stuff that's left is my second factor. I want you to notice, though, that there's a pattern. You see I'm splitting the middle with a negative 3 and a positive 5, and that's what's ending up in my factors, a negative 3 and a positive 5. I split the middle with negative 2 and negative 3. That's what's ending up in my factors, a negative 2 and a negative 3. Okay, let's try it again. 1 times 2 is 2. The only way to multiply to 2 is 1 times 2. I need it to add to positive 3, which it does, so I'm going to split the middle with positive 1x, positive 2x. And I'm going to group. First group has a common x. Second group has a common 2. These match. And this is what's left. Okay, so before I start this last one, I have to recognize that all three of these terms have a 2 in common. So I'm going to factor out the 2. They also have an x in common. This will leave me x squared minus 4x minus 21. Now, I'm going to kind of forget about this 2x and I'm going to bring it down here with my answer. And I'm going to factor this trinomial in here. 1 times negative 21 is negative 21. 1 times 21, 3 times 7. I think that's it. I need to add to negative 4. Okay, now, if I made the 3 negative and the 7 positive, these would add to positive 4. All I now have to do is switch this around and make this positive 3 and this negative 7. That gives me the negative 4. They also multiply to negative 21. I'm going to split the middle, and I get x squared, split the middle with plus 3x, minus 7x, minus 21. I'm going to group. Again, I'm just avoiding this 2x down here on the bottom, okay, until the end. This has a common x. This has a common negative 7. Here's negative 7 times positive 3 gives me the negative 21. It would be really easy to drop a negative in there, but that would give me a negative times a negative would make this a positive 21. That makes my groups match, so x plus 3 is my first factor, and whatever's left is my second factor. You guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.